So quick question, just out of my own curiosity. What is it that you guys personally, doesn't have to be as a group, just individually, what would you like to learn more of?
Personally, I think that would be caricatures.
Caricature, okay. Full
Also from the
body.
chat, human proportions and full body.
Character design. Good answer. That's a good one. All very good suggestions. And they all come down to a strong understanding of human anatomy and proportions. And also with drawing the head for caricature. And then once you understand human anatomy with full body and proportions, character design and caricature can come easily. But one of the most important things is understanding that full body. So a lot of times, generally, I'm only going to touch up on this a bit, but generally your full body general scale is 8 heads high. So we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then if you have your superhero is about 10 to 12 heads high. Fashion, design, drawing, illustration, models, they're generally 10 to 12 heads high too. But your average person is going to be about 8 heads high. And when I say 8 heads, this is just general because we're all different. Some people are going to be a little shorter, but this is where you start. You're generally going to have about, your shoulder is going to be about 2 heads wide. That's the general shoulder. The women will generally be about 1.5, and men will generally be 1.5 in the hips, and women are reversed. They're generally 2 in the hips. So if you see like your superhero figures, generally their shoulders are broader. And then females, women, generally they have more narrow shoulders. And they're sleeker. They're the opposite of men, where their hips are generally a little on the wider side than the men, and their shoulders are narrow, where the man has the narrow, wide shoulders and narrow hips. We'll get into a whole thing on that and we'll break it down. But that's something we can definitely work on. But human proportions, human anatomy is very important when you're drawing. Because once you understand human anatomy, you can play with it after that. So if you can draw the basic person, then you can understand, okay, well, you know, what if I want to make this person really, really like distorted? So you can exaggerate it. You could, if you wanted to, generally when you're standing, your arms, your elbows usually end midway, and your hands will generally fall between the middle of your thighs. that's where your hands generally drop. But you can, if you wanted to, you could make, if you want to make this guy's arms really long, like a gorilla, you know, but then that's where you're pushing, but you understanding the basics is a good place to begin. Let's take a look at the head. So anybody have any questions? You guys want to learn how to draw proportions to the general head? Okay. So we're going to start out, as usual, with the circle. We're going to drop a line from the middle of that circle. Now, these are just going to be very light. Once again, like human proportions, this is a general rule. Some people's noses are going to be a little bigger, some are going to be smaller. So we got a circle, drop a line down the middle. We're going to do a front view. So now come down from this line and go about half more. So you're going to take that circle and go about half more and drop it. Now, if you want to have a female, if you want your character to be feminine, then bring her sides in very soft and angular. If you want it more masculine, keep them more blocky and choppier. Okay, so now that you got this about 1.5, that's going to be your chin. So I'm going to draw my sides. Now these are your general proportions. It's a good starting place when you're learning to draw. But when you start drawing and you draw enough, you won't need to do this basic layout because you'll look at it and you'll understand it and you would just draw it. Okay, so from here, we're going to divide this in half. And that's going to be your eye line. Okay, now as best as you can, we're going to take this part here, we're going to divide this into thirds. So this right here, that's going to be the bottom of your nose. And this is where we're going to be the bottom of your lip. That's going to be the bottom lip. You guys okay? You guys got it? Can I move on? You want me to wait, slow down a little? You guys okay? All right. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the eyes. In general, across the width of the head, it's generally going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eyes apart. And in between each eye is going to be about an eye length. So if you were to draw 3 eyes in a row, they should fit perfectly. So I'm just going to go do a general shape of an eye. And when you're drawing in a pupil for the eye, your pupil generally will be covered mostly at the top. It'll touch the bottom of the eye. And I will generally put a dark line above it to help indicate shadow. Because otherwise, if you just do this, your character's always going to look scared or startled. But by putting a shadow above it, it helps tone that down a little. And sometimes if you go too much, if you shadow the whole thing, it almost makes it look like they're wearing eyeliner or makeup. It depends on what you want to go for. You can put an indication of an eyebrow if you want. Okay, so if we go from the corner of the eyes and drop straight down, that's where we're going to find the edge of the nose. So this is the bottom of the nose, which generally falls lower than the rest of the nose. You have your nostrils. You guys doing okay? Liliana, Heather, you guys are having an awesome time over there. I'm looking forward to seeing yours. Okay, so if we go to the middle of the eyes and drop straight down, that'll generally take you to the corner of the mouth. Now remember, this is the bottom of your bottom lip. So your lips are going to be about right here. Depending on your character, you can make small, tight lips. If you're making a female character, if you want big, curvy lips, if that's what you're going for, or if you want a small, tight, someone being serious. You guys doing okay? So next is the ears. Your ears will generally start at your eyebrows and end at the nose. Some people have different styles of drawing ears. Some people will just do that. Generally, if you take a look at your ear, it comes in a little. There's that little piece of cartilage. And then depending on, sometimes people have that big earlobe or they have a small earlobe. So your cheekbones, so if you follow the bridge of the nose, you don't have to draw this, but this is just for anatomy knowledge. If you follow the bridge of the nose, around your eyes you have, they're called orbits. It's your orbital socket. So a quick sketch of a skeleton, a skull. This is what your eye sits in. And it's an orbital socket and it sits deep in it. So all this socket forms about all this right here. And all this is just filled in with flesh. So if you follow the bridge of the nose, it comes up along the edge of that socket, and generally that is where your eyebrows will rest on that ledge. And it comes down, and on your nose, if you take a look, there's a little cartilage. If you put that little nick in there on the top of the nose, that will help your drawing immensely. That's a little trick a lot of people, just to do a nose. Just by adding that little mark right here on your nose, that helps convey the volume of the nose without having to do a lot of shading. It's just, everybody has it. It's just a little bump. Some people, it's more prominent if they have a real small nose. Now, if the character you're drawing, if they have a real big bulbous nose, you're not going to see it as much. But that's one of the little tricks. And when you're drawing a character, by putting a little shadow underneath that nose, it makes that more prominent. And generally, under your lower lip, if you look at everybody's picture, you'll generally have a little shadow under there as well. And those are all little things that will help you promote your character. It doesn't have to just be with real people. It could be with your fake characters, your imagination. It doesn't have to be a real drawing. So once again, when we talked about cheekbones and jaw lines, if you want it to be feminine, if you're drawing a lady, you can keep it smooth. Or if you want it to be like a guy, you go hard and angular versus soft. See how much of a difference that makes? The only thing I changed was that cheek and that jawbone. This side, put an earring on her. This side, give him a flat top. And it's all with the angles. It makes a huge difference. Even the neck, the size of the neck. His neck would be wide. Her neck would come in thin. And a lot of times, if you want a character to look tough and hard, you're going to want to use, remember earlier in the other workshop, we talked about contrast? If you want a character to be just strong, like most of your guys are very angular. And most women are very smooth. So think about that when you're drawing a character. Like look at some of the pictures we have for people's profiles. That cat character, it's very smooth and soft and curvy lines. The other one too. Baby Yoda, Grogu, very curvy. As opposed to Jenga or Boba Fett, where their uniforms are very sharp and straight edged. I was watching Full Metal Alchemist the other day. Now, here's an interesting character design. It's got both round edges and sharp, pointy edges. And the character itself is like a little kid. So it's a soft character. So even though the drawing of the character is menacing, he's got a feather coming out the top of his helmet, he's soft. So it's got that balance. It's not just hard and all, jagged edges.
Darrell, there was a question about the previous drawing. What if you wanted to draw a genderless person? Would you just draw like an average of those angles?
That's a good question. You as the artist, and it being your creation, you would have to decide that. As an artist, it's your creation. This is your world. So whatever you would envision as a genderless character may not be what Larry, Moe, and Crowley will envision as a genderless character. When I think of genderless character, I think of almost a blank slate. So it's, whoever asked that question, I propose to you to show me what a genderless character would look like. Yeah, good question. Fair enough. But you can have an androgynous character. You can have a character, a male character, but has both feminine qualities, But that's the power of character design. You can make what you want. You can add, if you want to add something to it to give it that bit of balance, that's up to you to create. So do I have any questions about the head? Let's go back to the head real quick. So how's everyone else coming along with their head proportions? Their head studies? All right, Liliana and Heather, you guys are having such an awesome time doing this. Let's see what you guys have. Hello, ladies. Good. Good. No, your proportions are pretty spot on with what we were talking about. Good job. You gonna add hair to it in the neck, maybe? Very nice. See, look, your proportions are right on. Nothing looks too off. Both of you did a good job on that.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing. Anybody else got something to share? How's yours coming along, Tater?
I mean, I just drew my character Rise, so
Okay,
Wow.
nice, good job.
thank you.
Here's Kat.
Hey, Kat, how you doing?
Give me a minute. My camera's really blurry. I need to clean it. Actually,
Okay.
I didn't see that till just now.
We'll come back to Kat. Oh, here's Kat.
All right, now we can see you. Nice. Good job. So it looks like you're studying the proportions. Yeah?
I think Kat is muted.
Okay.
I was talking
Looking-
and it's muted.
That's
Okay.
okay.
Was working on
Good.
the face. Usually I'm good at faces. Obviously not so much today.
Well,
I'll
you
do
know
better
what?
next
No, it looks fine. You know what might help you is draw a little bigger. Because when you draw bigger, you're not so confined that you have to be tight with detail. You can be loose, and so like when I draw, you're just gonna draw, just don't be afraid to draw big. And loose. Be loose. You don't have to be, like I said, doesn't have to be perfect. Because if I really wanted to, and suppose I really like this drawing. Suppose I really like this drawing. If you can see here, this is an animation table. It's an animation disc right here. And there's a light that lights up under here. So if I wanted to, I could put this on my animation table, turn on the light. And this is animation paper. See the peg holes? So when you're drawing, you can line up your drawings so they match. And then you can flip it to see your motion. But going back to this drawing, see how this is kind of loose, sloppy. It's all over the place. But if I really like this drawing and I wanted to keep it, then and I wanted to work on it. If you don't have a light table, you can use just another piece of paper. But if you have a small portable light table, it'll help you, because you could then come back over your drawing. And clean it up without, having to redraw it. That's what I say, like, just keep it loose and have fun with it. But you don't have to be so tight where it has to be perfect. Because a lot of times when you see what you are looking at on a screen or in a comic book, a lot of it's loose. A lot of it starts loose. I used to sit in Chuck's office and he would draw Bugs Bunny. And if he was drawing Bugs Bunny, he might draw Bugs Bunny in like 15 positions on one page. and he's just kind of looking for that right one. He's just looking for that right drawing. And then once he gets the right one he likes, then he'll clean it up. But the one drawing you do doesn't have to be the one drawing. It could be the preliminary to that drawing. I'll show you some examples of what I'm talking about later so that you don't feel that it has to be perfect. Just enjoy the drawing, have fun with it, relax, just draw. And if you don't like it, then you try something else that you like. So when you're doing cake, so if you understand the basic proportions of the head, suppose you want to do caricatures now. If you wanted to do a caricature of someone, okay, so you could take a look at someone. You could tell if they have a round head, a long head, a wide head. When I think of wide head, I think of Family Guy. That baby's got a big head. Baby's got a head like a football, but it works. It's once again, that goes back to character design. So going back to caricature, you just take a glance at someone and say, okay, their head is generally they're skinny and tall, so the head is longer. Okay, your nose, when we divide this in half, that's generally going to be your nose. So you can either put the nose here or you can put it wherever you want. If the person has a small nose, you might want to put it there. But suppose they have a long face, and if you want to elongate long face, suppose this person was always pouting. Then you can elongate like their jaw. And they're always the person that's not amused. Now, once again, going back to eyes are very expressive. So if you want to downplay the eyes, you could do something as simple as that. But you could do variation of eyes if you wanted the eyes to be more expressive. You wanted to change them. Like she was sad. The style is up to you, because you can have a serious eye. You can have a cartooning eye. You can just have a dot. If you take a look at characters and eyes, everyone has their own style. So just the way that you have your own personality, we can all draw Bugs Bunny. But each of us is going to draw Bugs Bunny in our own way. So this comes back to character design. Family Guy, that whole family character set of design, that's their style. Like a lot of you have your own style, I could see already with your characters. So if you want to draw a profile of someone, same concept. Circle, come down about half of this. And now remember what I told you about on a profile of someone, the face it's not a straight drop. It comes back in a slight angle, which a lot of people forget. So it's the same rules. Half this. half of that, that's about where our nose is going to, excuse me, that's where our eyes are going to be. So then we're going to break this into thirds. Break this into thirds. This is generally going to be the bottom of our nose. That's the bottom of our bottom lip. And this is our eyes. Now, your ears will sit back about half, but they're not straight up and down. They're in an angle. Your ears are in an angle. So let's come back to here.
May I show?
Yes, please.
So I just drew a quick caricature of myself.
Hey, good job. That came out very good.
Yeah, I kind of look a little older, like if I was a little older, and just kind of looks like an old man. And I really can't get the kid. Right.
Let's take a look at that, Nathaniel, and see what's going on there. Let's take a closer look. Hold up the drawing again.
I can't really get a good kid looking like myself.
Okay. No, it looks good. Generally, if the more lines you put in something, the more aged it's going to look. So if you have a character, now the thing with children and young kids is their eyes are generally bigger. Their eyes will be generally bigger. If you want to put that expressive feeling into a drawing, eyes. I was talking to my friend up at Pixar, and she said, if you notice that all the Pixar animations or characters, big eyes, because the eyes can tell you all kinds of stuff. It can tell you if the character's happy, if they're sad. But let's go back to your drawing. Go ahead, Tater, real quick. What was your question? Did you have a question, Tater?
Just out of curiosity, is there any reason you put the eyes like further up so they almost look like they're looking up, or just stylistic choices?
Good question. When you have things going up, it's happy. Expressions, lines all up is happy. When you have lines all down, lower, more flat, it's more somber, more sad. It's also part of preference. You know, it could be your preference. But going back to real quick, I don't want to forget Nathaniel. So the more lines you put on the drawing, so if I put more lines around his mouth, look how old he just got. The lines may be there. You might see them. Now, look what happens if I put more lines around the eyes. So in general too, if you're drawing a male character, you don't want to put eyelashes on him, even though he has eyelashes, because once you do, look what happens. Your male characters will have smaller lips. You put bigger lips on your male characters, see? So it's these little tips and tricks that make all the difference. Put more lines on the face. Even if the lines are there, the more you put though, it'll age major character. It's just some of the things that work. Now, asking if why do I put my eyes higher up on my character, it's a technique I learned from Chuck, from watching Chuck. If you take a look at Chuck's characters, his eyes on his characters are all usually pretty up. And if you take a close look at his character's eyeballs, if you look closely at a lot of his drawings, the pupils, the eyes, they don't stay in the line. They don't stay inside generally. They will come out. They will break this line. They'll break that edge. Especially too, if you look at from a side view of his characters, he adds thickness to the eyelid, and then he'll take the pupil and he'll break that line. He'll come across. Generally, the eye will be inside. He'll come across and break that. That's just his technique and style. But I studied with him, so I wanted to understand his character designs and what made a Chuck Jones drawing different than a Bob Clampett drawing or Bob McKimson. Anyone else got anything to share? Okay, so we're winding down our last 15 minutes. Let's do a little bit of character creation. Let's see what you guys can create in 15 minutes. It could be an animal, could be a person, could be anything you want. Could be a box. You laugh, but Star Wars had a box character. It was a power droid. Looked like a big garbage can. And it just had 2 feet. And that's all it was. Well, take a look at this character. And he's just a circle. If any of you have any questions, feel free to ask me.
DJ Park, I just want to say that looks really cool. It just looks like something from Alien.
Oh, thank you. It's kind of inspired. I don't know if you guys watch spooky movies. There's an old spooky movie called Pumpkinhead. Kind of creepy. But yes, I have a friend who works at Disney, and he loves the Alien character design by Geiger. Amazing. Beautiful, smart character, blood for acid. I just watched Alien versus Predator the other night. Great, two awesome characters battling it out. Of course, we identify with the Predator character because it's more humanoid. It's an awesome movie. Well, thank you, sir. But see, if you look at the way I'm drawing it, it's very loose. It's very almost like I'm finding it hidden in the paper. I'm just feeling it out. I'm okay, yeah, maybe I like this line. I don't, but see, I'll do it lightly. Oh, I like that line. No, I don't. Maybe I don't like that line. So I'll do it lightly, and then I'll come back and like, oh, okay, well, I like this line, and then I'll come back and make that darker. So scribbling, this is almost what it looks like, is I'm finding, sometimes I'll have a vision in my head on what it is exactly I'm drawing. Or sometimes I will figure it out as it happens. I sure wish we could meet in person, because then I could show you my portfolio and I could, it's so much different when you're teaching a class in person. But I'm so thankful you guys are here. You guys are like almost every day, every week, and you guys keep doing it. Keep doing it. I'll bring a sketchbook by one of our sessions, and I'll share it with all of you. Okay, so we got 6 minutes left. How you guys doing? Hello, ladies, again. Look at you. You rock. She drew a box character. Nice. Nice.
He's a little alien from outer space, but nobody actually knows what he looks like because he always wears boxes.
It's a great story. That's a great story. So if you were to create a character that no one knew what he looked like, he could wear boxes. In each episode or each thing, he could wear boxes, bags. He could be covered in anything he wanted, but no one would ever know what he looked like. That's a cool idea. That's a cool idea. You might want to keep that. Wow, look at that. See? I like that character.
Thank you.
You got a box robot too, huh?
Thank
you
you.
for sharing, ladies. Good job.
I'd like to show.
Okay. Nice. Nice. Is this one of your own characters, Nathaniel?
Yeah, well, it's just me roughing out designs. If I would rough out a design, it's not really finished yet.
No, that's all the part of figuring it out. It looks good. I like it. You got him in a 3/4 pose, which is kind of advanced. It's not just flat. And it's, you got him in an expressive pose. Very good. Thank you for sharing. How you doing, Tater? You got something for us?
This is a character from a story that's kind of still in the works right now, but he's a bit of a creep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where's he from? What's his story? What's he about?
It's set in a world where people have all sorts of random abilities. Most of them end up being completely useless. So we got Kodak, who grows like weapons from his blood. No, this is not My Hero Academia for anybody who's asking, because I said it and I was like, wait. So this is one of the monsters. that an unnamed character who their ability is entirely creating monsters from scratch. This is one of the monsters that they made, and we're like, hey, this one's nice. I think I'll keep this one. So yeah.
That's cool. So what you might want to do on the back of that, or on another sheet, do a character profile for him. Character profile, so that you can, oh, that's right, this is that character. He would get along with this character, but he would fight with that other character. They have character profiles for, if you watch like Bob's Burgers, Louise has a character profile about her likes and dislikes. Someone else wanted to share?
Yes.
So
Hello.
basically, I'm gonna share my screen real. So unfortunately, I can't show the actual face because it isn't anyone in the class. But yeah.
Hey, very cool. Very cool. What'd you do it on? Oh, is that your iPad? Nice.
Yeah.
Good job. So is this from a real person?
Yes,
Was
it
that taken from?
is.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And one of the hardest things to do when you're drawing someone is to simplify. To simplify a person and go,
Mhm.
okay, that's their nose, or that's their nose, or that's their nose, and then just leave it. Because as an artist, we're kind of like, well, it could be different, it could be better, it could be changed. But that's the tough thing about doing caricatures of people is finding that style where you just dedicate yourself to doing it. And you're gonna say, you just put it down. Okay, if you sketch, I sketch in ink in my sketchbook. I don't sketch in pencil. I sketch in ink. And when you sketch in ink, it forces you to slow down. It forces you to look at what you're looking at closely. It has you look at what's the wrinkles in the clothes doing. What's the angle of that foot? It's sketching in ink is a great way for you to force yourself to slow down and try to be correct the first time around. Versus with pencil, you can always erase it. And it's a worth trying. If you sketch and you have a sketchbook, try sketching in ink. And like I said, keep your sketches loose. They don't have to be these real tight things. They can be, loose, just light. And when you're sketching people, try to catch their gesture. So if they're standing, walking, sitting down, try to catch the gesture, the flow of the body. And that's a whole, it's their line of action is it can help describe that. But that's a whole other conversation we'll have. All right, everybody.
We have another share.
Okay, please.
Here's Jay.
Yeah.
Hey, there she is.
I was just doodling a person, making it up as I go. So yeah.
Nice doodle.
Thank you.
Nice, tight, clean doodle. For a doodle, it's pretty clean. Pretty clean. So your character looks shy, looks maybe a little uncomfortable, not sure about themselves, because that's showing me with their hands, or very maybe defensive, right?
Yeah.
That's part of your character design. That's good. I like it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thanks for sharing, Jay. No? Okay. Well, I think that'll be it for this. Hopefully we'll see you guys next week. I hope you took something from this workshop. Good job, everybody. Give yourself a round of applause. Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Darrell.
Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.